So we go into our first speaker. That is a presentation by Mr. Lare Ayoola. Whilst he prepares his presentation to share with us, I will say a few words about him so that we can get to know him a little better. Mr. Lare Ayoola, could you please get your presentation ready for us? Thank you. Mr. Lare is a charismatic individual, a very, very strong personality in the IT industry with many awards and accolades to his name. He's a pioneer, and he's the executive chairman of the Tranta Group and of IoT Africa Networks. He has over 30 years under his belt, working in Nigeria and international waters. He's an experienced corporate executive, the flair and passion for entrepreneurship, for pioneering technologies and developing opportunities, building human capacity, and nurturing businesses to success. Most recently, has been in the forefront of technology in the IoT game, hence IoT Africa, building awareness, solidifying relationships with important government bodies and associations, with foreign partnerships, in order to bring all parties together for great success in the great country of Nigeria. He will be sharing a presentation with us on sustainable food production in a changing environment, focusing on IoT crop and livestock management solutions for Nigeria. So you're all welcome. Thank you for all being here very much on time. I appreciate that. Mr. Lare, are you ready with your slides?
Yes, I am. I'm just waiting to be allowed to share. So thank you for that introduction, Melanie. Dr. Abdullahi, thank you very much for coming. Please give our most sincere regards to the Director General of NITDA. So while they're allowing that, to take place, you know, we've recently there've been a lot of interest in smart agriculture. So much so that we decided that it will be one of our major focuses going forward, especially over the next 4 to 5 years. The federal government has identified, excuse me, agriculture as being one of the key pillars of growth in Nigeria. And along with that has come a lot of positive schemes for the farmers in Nigeria to move ahead. So what we're doing basically, Tranta IT, IoT Africa, Connected Finland, Clever Farms, Digit Animal, and various other OEMs that are involved in IoT or smart agriculture, is we're basically looking at Nigeria, the Nigerian market, as one that could really benefit from smart agriculture. We know that the introduction of smart agriculture is not going to be an easy road, because there's a lot of education that will be involved, a lot of sensitization, a lot of research and understanding how best smart agriculture can be used, can be applied to the Nigerian agricultural situation. Every country is unique, every country is different. In fact, every region is different. And in some cases, every section of the farm is different. And therefore, there's going to be a lot of hard work that's going to be done. But the good thing about it, basically, as we see it, is the fact that the good thing about it is that we feel within a very short period of time, with the right collaboration, we should achieve great results. So having said that, I'm going to check again to see if I'm allowed to share. Perhaps we could get a comment from the Tranta, the IoT Africa team. can you allow us to share? Can we have a word from you, please? Okay, I'm told I'm now the host, so let's see if that works. Okay, it does. All right.
Oh, fantastic. We've gotten a resolution to that. The slides look good. Sorry about the inconvenience all. Mr. Ayoola, please do go ahead with your presentation. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Yeah, that's fine, Melanie. Thank you. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can, loud and clear.
Excellent, excellent. So once again, sorry for that little hitch. So let's start the webinar proper. My presentation is on sustainable food production in a changing environment, and I'm going to talk about IoT crop and livestock management solutions for Nigeria. This is a smart IoT agriculture webinar. My name is Lare Ayoola. I'm the executive chairman of IoT Africa, and okay, so today I'm going to talk about why we need to improve our agricultural sector, 9 ways IoT will boost agribusiness in Nigeria, key figures, IoT and smart agriculture. What is IoT? What is smart agriculture? What is IoT smart agriculture? What agribusinesses can monitor? IoT solutions and how they work, why IoT, and who we are. So let's proceed. Now, this is some background that's really quite critical. Off the back of an unprecedented year, Nigeria's agricultural sector is expected to play a major role in driving growth in the economy in 2021. In 2018, the connected agriculture market stood at $1.8 billion globally. It is expected to grow to $4.3 billion by 2023. Nigerian farmers lose harvest to the impacts of climate changes, leading to lower crop productions and thus poorer yield. When I elaborate on that, we're going to show that that is an understatement. Smart agriculture helps farmers to be innovatively cope with the effects of climate change. Why we need to improve our agricultural sector? Why do we need to improve our agriculture sector with IoT? Production increase. We need to improve or increase the amount of food that we produce for food security reasons, to sustain the growing population of Nigeria. When you look at the forecasts of the population growth in Nigeria, you'll see that it's quite dramatic. And therefore, we need to do something about that. In order to do something about that, we need to increase the efficiency of agriculture in Nigeria. Introducing technology, automation, and technical training will also increase the output. And we'll be talking a lot more about that later on in this webinar. The GDP growth. Recently in Nigeria, we've heard a lot of talk about the growth of the GDP. We've seen how, for example, the ICT industry has improved, has contributed substantially to the growth of the GDP in Nigeria. We're seeing, or we have not information on how the GDP is, how GDP growth is improved with improved agriculture. But we also need to make sure that we collect the appropriate data. Optimizing the supply chain economics and improving regulation using data is absolutely critical. Without that, we stand to be going in many directions without being able to know whether we're going in the right direction. So data is also critical. And that opens up even a different industry from what I would call the core smart agriculture. Data analytics, data analysis, communicating information that farmers will use to make better decisions. This will also come as a result of the introduction of smart agriculture in the Nigerian economy. Profitability and revenue increase for farmers. This is absolutely critical. In order to excite the industry, in order to excite the entrepreneurs sufficiently, to participate in agriculture, they need to be sure and confident that the risks are minimized. They need to be sure and confident that profitability and revenue increases for farmers is maximized. And in agriculture has always been seen as a highly risky venture in Nigeria. But with the introduction of IoT, we know that with smart agriculture, we know that the risks involved in the agricultural sector will be minimized to an acceptable level. I mean, everybody wants zero risk. But when we can minimize the risk substantially enough, it stimulates investment in that sector. And IoT, the Internet of Things, and the introduction of smart agriculture, the adoption of smart agriculture will go a long, long way to improving the agricultural sector in Nigeria. We're going to talk about 9 ways IoT will boost agriculture, the agriculture business in Nigeria, up to 30% reduction in costs. So these are some of the benefits that can be derived from smart agriculture. We can get up to 30% reduction in costs. We can reduce livestock fatality. We can also increase livestock productivity. We can spend less on fertilizers. Many farmers today are introducing or applying fertilizers to their farms, even when the soil does not need fertilizers. And they're simply doing it out of habit and out of wishful thinking that the more fertilizer I add, the better it is for my crops. This is not the case in many cases. IoT, smart agriculture, increases the yield by up to 10%. You have greater control over your investments. You minimize your crop losses. I wouldn't go as far as to say no crop losses, but technically speaking, if you get all the parameters right, you won't have any crop losses of any significance. It increases your higher profitability. It provides you with higher profitability. It allows you to respond quickly to climate, weather, and soil changes. And these are critical things that affect the productivity of a farm, whether it be for livestock farming or for arable farming. IoT, smart agriculture, provides you with data that gives you better data and allows you to make more accurate decisions. Now, one of the things that's going to drive the smart agricultural industry, and in fact the IoT industry in Nigeria, is an understanding of what the benefits are going to be. And these are some of the benefits that we have to share with you today. 22.8 trillion was spent by Nigerians on food in 2019. More than half of that was 56.7% of the total household expenditure is on food. 3.35 trillion is what was spent on agricultural imports between 2016 and 2019. Now we're talking about a country, Nigeria, that has enough fertile land, excellent weather, a massive workforce, importing 3.35 trillion naira worth of food. Smart agriculture will contribute substantially to a change in this figure, where we will see us move from a net exporter or importer of food to a net exporter of food. Now, the 3.35 trillion is 4 times higher than the agricultural export within the same period. $1 trillion, the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization predicted that the agricultural market in sub-Saharan Africa will grow from 200 billion in 2015 to 1 trillion by 2030. The GDP contribution of agriculture in Nigeria is 22%. So with this forecast of growth in potential revenue or growth in revenue that's expected, and the role that agriculture plays, and even the role that agricultural importation plays on diminishing the value of the naira, all these things tell us that we have absolutely no choice but to take smart agriculture seriously. In 2020, the federal government earmarked 600 billion to enhance the farmer access to agriculture. So like I said earlier, the federal government of Nigeria is taking agriculture very seriously. And we have seen that by the introduction of various schemes, positive schemes that are going to help the agricultural industry and help the farmers. We're also looking forward to the federal government focusing, and even the state governments focusing some of the effort and some of the resources on smart agriculture. Now, I'm aware that that is in the pipeline. And I'm aware because we are talking to the federal government through NITDA, we're talking to the state governments on what they're doing as far as smart agriculture is concerned. And smart agriculture is starting to be taken very seriously, and we're really happy about that. So if the government is earmarking 600 billion to enhance the farmer access to agricultural financing in the country, then we know that this is going to all go very well for the industry. The federal government has targeted the increased GDP from the agricultural sector with the launch of the National Fertilizer Control Program. Now, when you link that program with smart agriculture, which will enable us to ensure that the farmers never use more fertilizer than is absolutely required, then we have an optimum situation that will benefit the country tremendously. 11,233 farmers have been helped so far by this project. And we're talking about fishermen, butchers, processors, marketers, arable farmers, livestock farmers, all have been assisted. The plan is to increase food supply from 18% in 2014 to 25% of the total food demand in 2019. IoT and smart agriculture. What is IoT? IoT has been a buzzword that's been bouncing around all over the place for several years. People have heard of what IoT, have heard the phrase or the acronym IoT, and not really known what IoT does. And what I've done today on this particular slide is give my definition of what IoT is in my words. The Internet of Things is a network of internet-connected processes, people, data, and devices that transmit, collect, and share data via sensors to an analytical dashboard. This enables smarter and proactive decision-making. Quite a mouthful, really, or an earful, actually. As we proceed, it'll become clearer what we're talking about. What IoT offers is offers to collect data and deliver information. That is really the simple thing. We collect data from the fields, from the farms, from the livestock, and we transmit that data to their data analytics platform, and we convert that data to information for the farmers to use. And obviously the researchers, the research and development teams to use. We create infrastructural and business visibility. IoT creates infrastructural and business visibility. IoT enables the creation of digital twins. That is essentially being able to see on your screen how your ecosystem is behaving and determine what needs to be done to improve it and to ensure that there's no negative results that comes from the ecosystem by applying the necessary resources to that ecosystem at the appropriate time in order to make sure that productivity is maximized and therefore ultimately profitability is maximized. At IoT Africa Networks Limited, we say IoT is the use of smart IT, and the result is a smarter and more proactive organization. What is smart agriculture? Smart agriculture is focused on providing the infrastructure to leverage advanced technology, including big data, the cloud, and the Internet of Things, for tracking, monitoring, automating, and analyzing agricultural operations. Food security. Smart agriculture is growing in importance due to the combination of the rising population, the increasing demand for high crop yield, and the need to use natural resources efficiently. Natural resources are diminishing. Water is becoming a problem in many parts of the world, and Nigeria is not excluded from that problem. Over use of farms or farmlands is a major problem. And without understanding the soil content and so on, we would not be able to apply crop rotation in the most optimum, the most effective way. So smart agriculture allows you to collect the data and take critical decisions, including decisions on when to mate your cows, decisions on when to apply resources such as water and fertilizer, and in what quantities you should apply those resources in order to achieve the best production from your farm. So it's not just about you need to apply water. Smart agriculture, when applied properly, can tell you how much water to apply per acre and to which field you have, the water should be applied in that quantity. So what is smart agriculture again? Smart agriculture is a system that is built for monitoring livestock, crops, silos, irrigation, assets with the help of sensors, temperature sensors, humidity sensors, pest and disease monitors, automating the irrigation system, crop and animal health monitoring, soil moisture monitoring and measurement, pH of the, measuring things like the pH of the soil, the nitrate levels in the soil, the acidity of the soil, and so on. The farmers can monitor their livestock farms and assets from anywhere. Crop rotation. So these are the areas that smart agriculture can be applied to. Crop rotation, intensive farming, plantation agriculture, mixed and multiple agriculture, hydroponics, aquaculture, dry agriculture, terrace cultivation, shifting agriculture. Some of these names are new to many of us, but ultimately what we're trying to say is that regardless of the type of agriculture you are practicing or that is being practiced in a region, on a farm, in a country, smart agriculture is important to the success of that venture. What is the state of IoT and agriculture? I love this picture because it sort of, brings to reality some of the things that we need to take into consideration. Auto-spreading, diagnosis of disease. I'm sure over the many years, I've watched several documentaries, and a lot of the documentaries on agriculture talk about disease. Now, the one thing about disease that everybody knows is that the sooner you catch it, the better for your ecosystem and for your body when it involves your body. So smart agriculture helps you to identify when disease has started, exists in your farm. It helps you analyze your crop yield, helps you, it provides smart data, tells you when there's soil erosion, helps you monitor your fields in many regards, helps you understand when water stress exists, and so on. So smart agri can help you to monitor using the internet, your livestock. Where is it? Is your livestock healthy? What is the milk quality like? When are your cows on heat, so that you know when to mate them for maximum production of your herd? How much food are they consuming, and how quickly are they growing, and what in fact is the weight of your livestock? All done in a very simple way. It helps you to monitor your plants. Are there pests within your farm? Is there disease? What is the color of the leaves of your plants? From the color of the leaves, it's a lot about the health of that particular plant. What is the yield like? What's the water demand like? By fertilizer application, what do you have to do? Climate. We can help monitor, excuse me, monitor the humidity, the precipitation the temperature, the wind. Even the winds can dramatically affect the production of your crops, of your fields. Soil, what is the temperature, the pH levels, the moisture levels, the carbon content, the nutrients such as nitrates, or nutrients and minerals such as nitrates, water, what are the pH levels in your water, what is the turbidity, what is the temperature, the flow level, the nutrients. These are very, very critical things that you need to understand and be able to measure. If you can measure all of this, then you will have a successful farm. So how do they work? I'll just go back a step. So IoT works in a very simple way. You need devices to collect the data, to do the measurements in your farm. You need the device. You need a network through which you'll transfer or communicate the information and the data, and you need to have the software platforms, data analytics platforms to receive the data and analyze it, and then you need to present that data in a useful form, provide useful information and directions or recommendations to the farmer, and then the farmer can access that information by observing, by viewing a dashboard on a PDA, on a personal device or a laptop or a desktop. And this is how it works. So IoT smart agriculture covers soil and weather monitoring. I'm not going to go into too much detail on these, but we can share the slides with you later on. But as you can see, soil and weather monitoring is critical. Those are one of the two major things that affect arable farming. We can help you to predict pest and disease control. So pests and diseases affect crops and reduce their growth, their yields, sizes, and nutrients. Harvest loss is caused by pest, disease, and lack of proper storage facilities. So using devices, you can tell, if you can look at the picture in one of the top right-hand corners of the screen, you know, by measuring the temperature and the humidity of the grain in your silos or storage containers, you can certainly determine whether you're going to have a loss of your harvest or not, whether there's going to be mold, whether mold and other diseases, other negative things are going to happen to that particular agricultural produce. And by so doing, you can take action by drying, by moving to a better situation, and so on and so forth. So we'll just go on. Smart irrigation. Now, irrigation, obviously, we all know, without water, farming is nearly impossible. In fact, it's impossible. So whether it's arable farming or livestock farming, the use of water is critical. Smart agriculture helps you to create automatic systems that monitor the moisture in the soil on different parts of your farm, give you that information, and given the types of crops that you're growing and the moisture required for those crops, advise you on how much water you need to apply and where you need to apply that water. And using these automatic systems, it basically will save billions of naira worth of crops from failing. Smart water metering. Now, in an environment where water is somewhat seen as free, maybe metering can be seen as something that's not important. But then how can you tell how much water your farm is consuming if you don't have water meters on your farm, even if those water meters belong to the farmer? The farmer needs to know how much water is being consumed. He needs to know if leakages are occurring on the farm, because he's pumping that water around his farm, and he needs to use the pumps as little as possible. So smart water meters are extremely important in giving the farmer information on his water consumption and giving him information when leaks occur. Greenhouse and silo management. Many silos in Nigeria and around the world are not being monitored. Grain and other produce is being stored in these silos. and they're not being monitored. So it's only when you want to make use of the grain that you actually finally discover that your produce has gone bad, God forbid. Rather than rely on hoping, by monitoring the grain in the silos, you can solve that problem. In greenhouses can become too hot, too moist, too cold, lacking in carbon dioxide or having too much carbon dioxide, or other negative chemicals or fumes in the greenhouse. By monitoring the conditions of the greenhouse, you can optimize your growth. Crop management systems exist that help you to really understand what's going on in your farm. Indoor temperature and air quality. Tom Limbard is going to talk to you a lot about air quality and how it is applicable to agricultural situations. Level monitoring. This is one of my favorite types of IoT, to be quite frank, because one of the things that is really everybody, including the farmer, is to think you have enough of a particular farm input, water, fertilizer, pesticides, herbicides, and or even grain to sell, and then ultimately finding out you don't. So knowing the level of your dry products and your wet products is critical to the effective management of the farm. Temperature monitoring. Now, temperatures monitoring is relevant to arable farming. Obviously, crops are affected by temperature. Obviously, soil moisture is affected by temperature. The temperature affects the productivity of a farm, but also in terms of your supply chain. You need to know what the temperature is of your produce from the time it leaves the farm to the time it arrives at the table of the person who's consuming it. So temperature monitoring is key, and IoT allows you to monitor the temperature across the entire supply chain. Farms have security problems from time to time. And one of the major problems that farmers have is, okay, even if I put a fence up, how does that help me? Because when a less than honest person climbs over the fence, then how would I know? By applying internet-enabled fence monitoring systems, every time somebody touches your fence, you will know. All they have to do is to touch it, whether it's human beings or cows. Once they touch your fence, you will know. And you'll be able to send a crew out to that particular that particular section of fencing to find out what's going on and be able to stop something bad that might happen to your crops: theft, damage, vandalization, and so on. Generators are used tremendously in all parts of the world, especially in farms. And farms, very often are far away from the normal grid, and they need generators. So what's the condition of your generator? How much diesel do you have? Do you have enough fuel to power it, et cetera, et cetera? This is important, and all this can happen remotely. Every time your generator starts, you can know. When the oil is low, you can know, and many other things as well. Water temperature for fish farming is critical. I once had a fish farm, and I wished I could have, at that time, I wish I could have been able to monitor the temperature of my hatcheries, because if your temperature is not right, the eggs will not hatch. And if the temperature is still not right, the fish, the fry, will die. And the temperature tolerance is very, very slim. So you have to get it right to have an effective harvest. And then your fish eat better in certain temperatures. So temperature is really key, and obviously water quality is just as important. Make agriculture come alive with IoT. Very, very interesting, very simple, very straightforward. IoT is not complicated. Smart agriculture sounds very big, but it's really very simple. You have the plant sensors. You have the things you want to monitor. You apply the sensors. you transmit the information, and the information comes to you in a usable format. And this is what we're talking about. You have your objects you measure, you transmit small packets of data through the Sigfox IoT network to the Sigfox cloud, and from the Sigfox cloud to your data platform, which is a service that can be provided for farmers. So we don't require the farmers to have deep knowledge about big data. And then that information can be converted to useful information that can be used for decision making. So what makes Sigfox unique? It's a global and reliable network. It's one contract, one network. Managed network with a high quality of service, highly resistant to interferences and jamming. Bear in mind that GSM signals can easily be jammed with a $150 jamming device. With Sigfox, that's not possible. You can't use a small jamming device to jam Sigfox. Simple, one central system, no pairing, no configuration required. You buy the device, it connects to our network, and we give you the data and we give you the information. No connection, no protocol. The only way to reach the simplest and most efficient link between objects and internet, that's the Sigfox network. That's what we bring to the table. That's what we are contributing to smart agriculture in Nigeria. Sigfox is very low energy. Devices are always in sleep mode, except when they need to wake up and give you information according to the programming that you've given the device. The messages are so small, the data consumption and the power consumption is negligible. Few messages per hour or per day will be sent. You don't need messages every second about the soil moisture. You need them at most 4 times a day. Smart cooperation between network and device. So you see, with Sigfox, your devices can have batteries that last you 4, 5, 10 years before the battery needs to be changed or recharged. So it's ideal for agriculture. You put the devices out there and you literally forget about them for years, but they tell you every day what the battery level is, and they communicate with you every day to know they're alive, and they give you the information as often as you want, up to 140 times per day. The overall total cost of ownership is extremely low. The device enabling the simplest, lowest cost radio chips, one central network, comprehensive API and IoT platform provider. What it means is that Sigfox is highly integratable with any platform using simple APIs. So Sigfox is friendly, useful, long-lasting, and effective in the objective or the plans to roll out smart agriculture. So I'll move very quickly through these. This is going quite technical. You know, Sigfox is, you can see the different options that you have. You have Bluetooth, you have LoRa, you have LTE, you have NB-IoT, you have Wi-Fi, Zigbee, Z-Wave, 4G, you know, which is GSM. Yeah, but look at where Sigfox lies. On the power, the vertical axis is power. And what do we have? We have Sigfox consumes the lowest power of all technologies, which means the batteries in Sigfox enabled devices last the longest. Then look at the horizontal axis. Where is Sigfox? Sigfox gives you one of the largest ranges, which means the device can communicate for several kilometers to any base station, to any radio, Sigfox radio, which means that even the deployment of the network is cost efficient, which is why we can charge very little money for you to connect your devices to the Sigfox network. IoT Africa Networks Limited is the Sigfox operator in Nigeria and the foremost IoT provider in Nigeria. We can boldly say that, given the investment we have made in this industry and the partnerships we have formed. We have formed partnerships with over 40 OEMs to bring in devices that can be used in virtually every vertical. this is a little bit about Tranta IT. Has effectively been operating for over 16 years, over 40 OEMs, 60 plus channel partners, over 286 engineers, 100% success rate in implementing projects, over 100 annual contract customers around the country. This is a bit of information. These are some of our clients. Quite a few. We do a lot of business with very reputable companies, and we're now focusing also on the SME market because we feel that the SME market can benefit tremendously from this technology. These are some of our partners in IoT, obviously Sigfox. We are the exclusive distributor of Sigfox in Nigeria. We're the Sigfox operator for Nigeria. We have partners like Connected Finland, Clever Farms, Unabiz, IoThink, Oleum Tech, and Ayoola are particularly relevant for level measurement in both intrinsically environments that need intrinsically safe devices, as well as environments that are just general, like agriculture, or many types of agriculture. We have ICT partners, and this is our management team. I've gone quickly through this because I'd love for us to hear from our other speakers. We have a pretty large management team. We are completely Nigerian, and we're very proud of that. A lot of our people have grown within the organization, and we have, I believe, and I can proudly say, one of the most efficient management teams in the country. Looking forward to implementing IoT, smart agriculture in Nigeria. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ayoola. That was a fantastic presentation. I particularly like the fact that we can cut down costs by 30%. I think that's pretty impressive. Most farmers in Nigeria are smallholder farmers, and I'm sure that they would be very happy to reduce their expenditure costs and manage their resources better. I especially have heard in my experience about a lot of fatalities of in people who have chicken farms and fish farms. So being able to monitor the temperature and prevent fatalities, I think it goes a long way in maximizing yield and, of course, ensuring revenue for those who are into farming in Nigeria. And we certainly do have a lot of fish farms in the Lagos region due to the amount of water present here. So that would be fantastic in terms of development for the fish farmers of Nigeria. So thank you very much. We got quite a few comments during your presentation. We'll definitely be taking those at the end, a lot of very useful questions. In our Q&A session, we will be attending to all the questions that have been asked. I'd just like to let everyone know you can continue to ask questions throughout the whole webinar on any of the presentations that have been delivered. And they will definitely be attended to either in this webinar or via mail post-webinar.